Codebenders, check out this AI app that I built. You basically upload your resume, it's gonna read it, and then it's gonna tell you the dollar value of how much it's worth, how much money you could be making using this resume. This was built with Next.js and the Mistral AI for the AI model. I got a bunch of people to try it and calculate the resume worth. I'm gonna show you how I built it, and I'm gonna share all the code with you. First, we need to talk about the architecture. So for this, I use Next.js for the UI. Then in order to extract and read the text from the PDFs, I used a library called PDF.js. So this is all happening on the client side. So the role of that API is to build the prompt and to pass the API key. And then we send everything to the Mistral API. That's basically the architecture of this project. One of the students of my bootcamp was actually asking me, why did I use Mistral AI for this project over GPT-4 like I usually do? And there are a couple of reasons for this. I actually plan to make a full dedicated video on Mistral AI and just the advantages of it. But basically, it just came down to the fact that I wanted to try a new AI model. It's like you have been eating pasta with ketchup all week and you just want to have something new for dinner tonight. I'm gonna show you the code for the app in a minute, but first I want to show you something else that I've prepared. If you guys want to build projects like this one that I showed you and you don't necessarily have any ideas, I've created a free pack with 7 unique AI project ideas that you can use. It's completely free. You can just sign up. There's a link in the description. If you go there, sign up, you're gonna get access to it. And every idea has like screenshots, has like a tech stack that is recommended, has a few tips on how you can get started on this. So I highly recommend you check it out. But now let's look into the code for this app. So this app has a regular Next.js app structure. So you're gonna go inside of the app folder and there's a bunch of things happening. There's like components, there's the root page. For this demonstration, I only wanna focus on 2 parts. One is the text extraction from the PDF. So that's functionality that I built. And the second one is just sending that data to the Mistral API and getting the result. So it's going to happen in this component, the resume uploader. This component is going to be imported at the root level. And this component is basically just when you look at the app, the button where you upload your resume, it's just this component, right? So it has to handle the functionality of uploading a PDF and reading it. And you see there's a bunch of HTML here, and then there's this function that we care about, the handle resume upload. So if I open it, you see that it's basically, it resets the state, it gets the file from that event, and then it calls this other function, the read resume. Actually, this function should have made a utility function out of, I should have placed it in the utility folder, but yeah, whatever, it's here right now. This, I'll be completely transparent with you. I actually have no idea what it's actually doing. So obviously I know because I worked on it, but what I mean to say is if I look at the code just like this right now, I have to actually dive deep to really understand like what's happening with the reader and like how we're breaking this down in this library, and like what the heck am I doing with importing the library here and then using this workaround. Like I'll have to remember, you know. The reality though is there is no nice library that I found to do PDF like text extraction on the client side, because I want to do it on the client side. It's just a little bit faster, and I thought it would be very easy to do. I thought there was like an existing library that would allow me to do it, but the best one that I could find was this one, PDF.js, and for some reason with Next.js it was just such a pain to make it work. So I had to go through all this workaround of importing it here, like assigning like this URL to the worker, and then like just doing a bunch of things here. Like it turned out to be not that simple. But the reality is I've actually built this like 2 or 3 projects ago. So I'm just copy pasting, like whenever I need a PDF like text reader on the client side, I'm just copy pasting this code like until something better comes out. So I don't even remember how I built it, wrote it. I just remember that I struggled a lot, and I did like a lot of research to figure this out. On Stack Overflow, I think some people shared like similar code. So that's basically how I got it. I don't have much to say about this. It's like ideal if someone builds a library, that's the type of things that you can just reuse and import it and you never have to worry about it. But basically this handles the read the resume, and then I'm setting all this text, this extracted text, I'm setting it inside of this state. And if you actually look at this state, this is passed as a prop, because I want to bring it back up to the parent component, because as soon as the PDF handler has read all the PDF, it has read all the text, it's going to store it in a state variable, and then we want to send that to the API. And this is happening right here. So this is the root component, and what you see it's doing, like if show worth is false, it's going to show the resume uploader button, otherwise it's going to show the resume worth component, which is like that grid with like the dollar value basically that you saw before. But it's happening here, the API call is happening in this use effect. So as soon as the resume text changes, as soon as it's not undefined anymore or not empty, then we're calling this function, and this function is this API call. So I'm giving like the resume here, and I'm making this complete API call, and then just setting some state here. This function, because you see I'm not doing like a regular fetch API call, I'm using this library that is called the AI SDK from Vercel. It just provides you with like a lot of nice things, like if you want to stream your response, and just makes the code kind of cleaner. And you see I'm using the use completion hook. It exports the complete function, which is this API call, and I'm just using this. That's about it. And the only thing that you need to do to configure it is you just need to provide the API route, and it's gonna handle everything else. So that's very nice. So here now we have covered the PDF text extraction part and then sending it to the API. And now in the API, this is the part where like the brain of the operation is. This is Mistral AI. For this, you will see that if you have checked some of my videos before, I've checked some of the codes that I have written, it's very similar. Or even if you have just done it on yourself, it's actually very similar. It's pretty standard. It's always like you have this kind of like middleware where you provide the prompt, you have this client for the API that you want to use, and then you send all of this to the actual like external API. So here what I'm doing is I'm importing this Mistral AI dependency so that I can have the client. I'm importing a few things so that I can stream the response. I'm defining the client here. I just need to provide the API key. Then since we're going to have a post request, I'll have the handler here for a post request. I'm extracting the prompt from the request. I'm trying to get the response now because basically I'm using the client. I do mistral.chat stream. And here I'm using the latest large model because this is the model that is comparable to GPT-4. There's also a small model that you can use, like if you do Mistral hyphen small. And then you send the messages. In my case, I only have one message. It's not really a chat, so I just send one message. It's an array of one message, and with the content, which is going to be the prompt. And here, this is where I do a couple of things. Again, if you follow my strategy for writing prompts, I always like to start with a context. So I say here, like, you're an expert at predicting the dollar worth of resumes. Then I give a little bit more details. Then I give tasks of how it's supposed to handle this mission that I have for it. I provide the resume, and the resume comes from this prompt from the request. And then I give the output format. And the output format is very important because if I don't know how the AI is gonna send me back the response, I have no idea how to parse it and show it to the user in a nice way, right? Because I could show obviously just text, but if I want to show like a nice like 2-column layout the way I did with like a dollar value on top and a couple of nice fancy things, I need to know exactly which format am I getting back from the API. It's like I want to make a contract with the API that I send you this format, you give me back this format. This is what I specify here in the prompt. So I say like I'm using kind of like an HTML like tag structure because I've noticed that this structure works pretty well since most of those AI models, they were trained on data from the web. And what is the web? The web is basically a bunch of HTML, a bunch of Markdown. So if you use those types of formats that the AI is very familiar with, then usually it's going to give you like a very consistent output. So here I define like resume worth, I define an explanation section with like a list, and then I define an improvement section. So this is where the AI is going to give you tips on how to improve your resume to increase your dollar value. And that's it. After this, I'm basically just exporting the stream, and then you have it. So you have the API that is ready now, you have built the PDF handler feature, and then all the styling, all the layout, etc. Like I'm going to give you the code, you're going to have access to all of this. But basically that's the project. I hope you enjoyed this, Codebenders. Thank you for watching. Try the app for yourself. Let me know what you think of it. I'm going to leave a link in the description for the app. Tell me in the comments how much your resume is worth. And now if you want to start building apps like this in a more advanced way and you want to start your journey to become an AI developer, I have made a full video with a complete roadmap, step-by-step roadmap that you can take to build projects not just like this, but a lot more advanced than this and to truly become an AI developer. So I highly recommend you check it out. Click on the video that's going to appear right here.